Konnichiwa and welcome to today's episode of The Untold, the show where we have amazing people. Of course, I'm your host, Abdullah Al-Hindiani.
And I'm your host, Ajane Al-Athari. And today we have the story of people across different cultures, Patrick and Kazumi, who both live in Japan and are visiting Kuwait right now.
Yeah, mashallah, from reading the brief, Patrick is from Canada and he also has roots in Ireland, and Kazumi is from Japan. So like their stories, Japan and Canada couldn't be further apart from each other. So to see, a husband and wife with such a story, it's so curious. I'm so curious to sit down and talk to them about their journey so far.
So am I. And they met people in Kuwait during the Kuwait Expo in Japan, the pavilion. And that's how they got their connections, and they decided to come visit the people they met here, which is really amazing. And I'm very curious to talk to them about their whole experience and how they're finding Kuwait so far as well.
Yeah, honestly, them being here is such a sign that you really don't know what you're going to encounter, right? So best to take the opportunities, say yes. You never know what's on the other side of the door. With that being said, we're going to take a break so we come back and sit down with them. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, from that break. I want to first welcome you, husband and wife, Patrick and Kazumi Hughes. Thank you for being our guest today on The Untold.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you guys. Before we dive in, could you tell me a bit more about yourselves? Like, what was your field of study? What do you do for work? And where are you from?
My name is Kazumi, and I'm from Japan. We're just visiting here. This is the third day
Wow.
in Kuwait, first time. So we are a little bit nervous, but I am between jobs right now. But last year, I used to work as a staff for Kuwait Pavilion.
Oh, wow.
So,
And what about you, Patrick?
Let me think. Well, you're between jobs. I'm just retired.
Amazing.
So it's good
That's
time
the
to be
goal, right, Abdullah?
Yeah,
That's the purpose.
that's what we work for, yeah. So before that, my parents are from Ireland. They went to Canada for 1 year, kind of like I went to Japan for 1 year. My parents didn't go back. I'm kind of still in Japan. It's been 35 years. So originally drafting, worked in the government drafting. Then I found out computers were coming. So I switched to computers. And yeah, that's a bunch of years ago and some traveling in that. But first time the same. First time to Kuwait and third day here and very full.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about Kuwait is the food.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that on your third day, you're here with us on The Untold. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think you've hit the jackpot of visiting Kuwait, right? Because you've already mentioned you've been to Mbarkiya, now you're on national television, and you're going through all the bucket list of things to do in Kuwait. I want to go back to you, Patrick, because you've spent 35 years in Japan as well. Have you ever thought or imagined that is something you were going to do?
No. I originally, again, being from Canada, I did travel a little bit off to Europe and then back. There was not many jobs, so I went traveling again to Asia and then back. And then in the end, I passed through Japan. I thought, yeah, it was interesting, so I'll go back there for maybe 1 more year. And there we go. I stepped out once or twice, but it's an interesting place. Up and down. It's frustrating sometimes and interesting, and then up and down like that. So it's worked out well.
So what brought you to Japan and made you stay there? 'Cause 35 years is quite a long time.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And it's only when I think about when I got there, yeah, it is. But yeah, the first time it was going to be, it was going to be just a 2-week pass through. And then it was a cold February, a little bit colder than here. Everything was closed and many things were closed. So maybe 4 days, but it was a good 4 days, good experience.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, no, I could go back and study a second language. And I picked a difficult one. I think some of the most difficult, Arabic and Japanese, the top 2 or 3 for difficulty. So Arabic looks much tougher. And as we were talking about earlier, there's so many variations too. So
Yeah, like in Arabic, we have so many different dialects based on where the person is from, different regional dialects. Is it the same in Japan?
there is dialects, yeah. Fortunately, I mean, there's the standard language, and in school, that's what you start studying. But then if you live in the countryside, when I lived in Hokkaido for a while, there it's a lot of people are kind of new to Hokkaido, so it's kind of the standard. But if you go to where Kazumi's from,
north or to south, I also have to ask again, like Like, what did she say? It's a really strong accent.
Yeah.
Countryside is different. I'm sure it's same for you.
Yeah, it is. Depending where you're from, like the language can change a little bit. And it's good to know that even in Japan, because how it just changes depending, I guess, on the region that you're in. So are you fluent in Japanese?
Intermediate is a good word.
What would you say?
Yes.
Yeah, if it's in my field, which is computers and that, okay. If it's in a different field, yeah, but intermediate.
If anything, I feel talking about computers in Japanese sounds very difficult.
A lot of words come from English, so that
Okay,
helps.
okay, that makes sense.
Right. Did you find it a tough learning curve to pick up Japanese, or were you learning as the process goes by living there?
I kind of talked myself into going to school full time. It was what do you call sakura time? Cherry blossom season.
Oh, I love
And
cherry
all the
blossoms.
students and that, they're there and we're having a great time. And I said, yeah, sounds good. I'll come on Monday. Monday came and somebody reminded me, oh, you promised to go. So yeah, it was 3 hours a day, 5 days a week for about 9 months or so. And then off living on the countryside, kind of a homestay. Another time I worked as a waiter. So just kind of working on the language. But I'm actually still studying once a week. So little by little.
I mean, still very impressive. They do say that the best way to learn a language is to immerse yourself in the culture and live in the place where the language is from. Because it's easy enough to kind of pick up a book and learn, but it's not the same as talking to actual people in the language.
Yeah, exactly.
I found that when I tried learning Spanish a while ago, I even did it for my A-levels back in school. And it was easy enough to a level, but if you go to Spain and you're talking to people in Spanish, they speak in a much faster dialect. And it's hard to keep up with your ears what they're saying. Even though you can understand, it's just you can't speak back in the same level. So languages are such a beautiful and enriching thing. It's just, as you said, depending what language, where you're from, when you start learning, it makes a big difference. I'm glad you took the commitment to kind of really go into it entirely.
Well, it's been committed, but again, working was the main focus for many years. So kind of like study for a bit and then take a break and then study for a bit. And the customers say, oh, we couldn't actually understand what he was telling us the other day. Okay, back to study for a bit. So working and study kind of mixed in.
And let's go, because I know, and this is going to be a secret to the audience, I know that Kazumi, you said focus on Patrick for the interview. But I am going to go back to you, for just a very tiny second, because obviously Patrick picked up the Japanese language. I want to ask you, did you pick up the English language, and was it a hard thing to pick up, or was it not that as difficult as it is?
Ooh, I don't know in Kuwait, but in Japan, everybody has to study English. That doesn't mean you can speak. In fact, I couldn't speak any language. Study it, I can read it, but fluency is none. So I was in the States trying to speak, and as I came back and then started to work in the English environment, that made myself better and better. Again, English wasn't easy for me. Japanese is much easier, pronunciation-wise. Lots of Kuwait people, when they were in the expo, Kuwait pavilion people, like some people, they are actually fluent. Well, it seems to be fluent. No, pronunciation is perfect. So speaking Japanese is actually not that hard compared to Arabic. We don't have sound.
Patrick, I want to go to you for something I think I can relate to, because 2 years ago, I went to Canada for the first time. Now, it's not as much of a shift in cultural differences from Kuwait to Canada, but it is a difference, right? In terms of whether the type of food they have, the amount of scenery that they have. So it was much more of a cultural shock. Now, going back to you, when you first stepped into Japan, was there as big of a culture shock as you'd imagined, or was that totally, normal?
I think because I'd traveled a fair bit before then. So, I mean, one big thing for me was everything is so small in Japan. The rooms are small, everything is small. But because I'd traveled with a backpack around Europe and Asia and that, so it was like, a little bit of space is okay. But I remember going back to Canada after and thinking, only one family lives in this whole big house. Back in Japan, or in other countries too, you'd have many more people there. The language, of course, but having traveled to other countries, I was used to not understanding most things. So I think those were two of the big things, was the size or the lack of size, and the language. You pick up a little bit as you go to different countries. But I think, for example, which part of Canada did you go to?
I think it was called Montreal.
Okay, so the French part.
Yeah.
So that's
That's why they were speaking so much French. My mom was like, I need somebody to talk English with me.
Yeah, and you're lucky insofar as that Montreal speaks more English than the countryside or Quebec. In school, I studied 6 years of French, but when I went into the countryside of Quebec, yeah, they really don't speak English. So that was more of a shock for me because it's my own country.
Yeah.
But it's a different piece. So yeah, things like that. Language, not so much, but the size of things, the cost of things was at first. Now I think the yen is much weaker, so the cost is not so bad. So things like that were a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's great to know, especially about the size of things, because I'm also quite a tall person. And I've never been to Japan, but I really, really want to go. It's on my bucket list. It has been for quite some time. So that's some good knowledge to have, just to have awareness before I go about the size, I guess, of things. Not that you have to worry about that, Kazumi. And as a Japanese person, I want to ask you, for someone like myself who've never been to Japan, how would you describe it to somebody?
Well, that's a good question. Describing crowded.
Okay.
Trains are punctual. Even though it's crowded, I won't. If they quit, people come to Japan, please enjoy the crowded train, but then people kind, and generally it's a safe place to travel. And not only Kyoto or Tokyo, but I want people to come to go to Hokkaido or Kyushu, Okinawa, even though it's compared to Canada, it's small country, but I hope queer people will enjoy Japan. Is that answer to?
Yeah, no, that's
question?
great.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people from Kuwait would love to visit Japan, especially like you guys have such beautiful nature, even both in the spring, you got the cherry blossom trees. And I really want to see those because I'm a big flower person. I love flowers so much. And the pictures and videos I've seen, they look out of this world like a dream, And even in autumn, I've seen that the trees look so beautiful. So it's something I really want to experience in both seasons if I can. How about you, Abdullah?
Yeah, honestly, I'd always thought of myself as a Japanese person in heart. I love everything that's related to Japanese culture. Going back to the history of it, I mean, I've watched all Akira Kurosawa movies. I have samurai outfits at home. I've done everything related to Japan except being there. And it's only because the flight time is so frightening to me. I love Japanese culture. I love Japanese food. I love how Japan as a country, even now, still has historical artifacts, still has its historical, pieces, its historical pages shown. Like so many places that my family and friends went to, they say we can see the relics of the history. I love that about Japan.
Please come to Japan.
Hopefully, inshallah, in the near future. But we are going to take a very quick break. We'll come right back after this one.
And we're back from that short break. So we were just talking about, you moving to Japan, and that's where you guys met as well. And how long have you guys been married?
Good. But I guess since the time we met and up until now, maybe about.
Yes, just speaking Japanese now.
Over 30 years.
And I want to ask you, because I know for outsiders things can be different. So what is something that foreigners may need to know before they come to Japan? Because I heard this thing that you can't eat out in public. Is this true?
So it's not that you can't, but usually people don't. Or if you're sitting on the train or the subway, people they don't sit there eating. Sometimes people, if you're a bit hungry, they might have a drink or a bite, but you don't really sit there having a big meal on the subway. Also, people are usually quieter, especially if it's crowded. If they're rush hour, they're going to work, nobody talks.
Okay, wow.
Coming back, maybe a couple people talk. But it's usually fairly quiet compared to other places we've seen. I mean, you got to Tokyo before me, of course, and back then you could smoke on the subway. That they definitely don't have.
Lineup is the one maybe we do when it's long, when they buy tickets and the people line up patiently, and maybe, oh, it takes time and oh, we have to take the train, but then people do line up. Lining up is the one thing I think.
Yeah, I think what a lot of my friends and family who have been to Japan, they talk about how punctual it is. Like everything goes by time, you know, the metro, the trains, the queues, people are always by time. And that kind of organizational habit is frightening to some people who come from chaotic societies. But it's always a joy to watch. It's always a joy to see.
Yeah, when it works very well. I mean, you were saying if the train is 1 minute late, they apologize. It depends on the train line at the time. But yeah, if it's
Affects the connection of the next train you have to go, and it's so crowded.
yeah, so you might hear like they'll announce and say, "Oh, sorry, it's being delayed. You know, really sorry for the 1 minute delay." It's like it's only been 1 minute, but but it's rarely much more than that.
I mean, that's amazing to hear because I just came back from London and there, if the
Ah.
train is late,
Oh, no.
you have to apologize to the train. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, if the train is running, you're doing good.
I want to ask you about something because you mentioned the first part of the interview that you are a frequent traveler. And now, obviously, you've come to Kuwait. You mentioned it's your third day here. So I want to talk to you, you know, how did you end up being in Kuwait? Like, what brought you here?
Now this definitely goes to my wife because she worked in the Kuwaiti pavilion during Expo, and because of the people she met.
Yeah, and then they say, "Oh, come to Kuwait. It's a wonderful place. We are here. We will welcome you." And maybe some people in Japanese, when you have an invitation, you think it's just a superficial. But when people ask direct question, I come over and I just take it as an invitation. Honestly, I came, and then some people say, "You came." but luckily I met so many Kuwait ladies and gentlemen here in this office. And yesterday when we were here, and then they are working, they are busy, but they came and they said, "Welcome and good to see you." It's just very overwhelming. And then we've been treated really nicely for past 3 days. Seriously, just so warm welcome. I mean, yeah, that's why we are here. Sorry, just your question is this. My answer is short, but I really appreciate these people we met in Japan, and they welcomed us. And
I mean-
that's privileged. I'm overwhelmed.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear, and it's great to hear because I get what you mean by sometimes people say, "Oh, please come here," but as you said, they mean it in a polite way usually.
Yeah,
But
I know.
in Kuwait, especially in like a lot of Arab countries, like hospitality is a really, really big thing, and we love when people come to experience our culture. So whenever I make friends, I'm always like, "Come visit me, and I'll visit you," and I love making those kind of connections because then it's amazing to have somebody in the country you're going to. I feel like you always learn so much about the country, how it actually works when you know people who are there. So it's really great to hear that you had this kind of experience and that they actually are welcoming you and you're enjoying it so much, because it makes us happy to see you here and getting to experience our culture and not just us experiencing yours and so much. And I know you've only been here 3 days, but is there anything that's really stood out to you?
Ooh, you want to answer that question?
We've learned it's definitely a car-based.
Yeah.
We did walk from where we're staying. We're used to walking. A few months ago, we were in Korea for a music hiking festival. We walked about 18 kilometers a day for 3 days. So
Music hiking?
yeah, you like 2 hours of walking, and then there's some music. For example, there might
That
be
sounds
some
nice.
young grade school students who are playing violin, and you think, I hope they keep practicing. And then you go another 2 hours, there's classic music, or it could be many different things. So walking, and then we get here, and the walking is a little more challenging. The roads are great. Sidewalks, you have to look for the sidewalks. So yeah, so coming around, but seeing the buildings and that, I still think the buildings are taller here than Tokyo. It seems that way because they really
Really?
stick out. There's some very nice looking
Yeah,
buildings.
interesting designs. I love buildings here. Really, really.
Yeah, we do have some really interesting architecture. I know this from a friend who studies it, and there's so many different types of architecture themes and like historical different ones, and a lot of people get to put their own flair on things as well. So it's not all one cohesive design. You see a lot of different things depending which area you're in. If you're looking at a house, if you're looking at a skyscraper kind of building. So it's really fun to just drive around and look at the buildings sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're right about the walking. That is the one thing I miss from living abroad. But you came in the right time because it is winter in Kuwait now. So it's actually the good weather for us if you want to be outside and walking. And you might want to try going to some of the parks that we have or by the beach, because those are some great places to walk.
Yeah.
If you do want to like see Kuwait in the outside world a bit more.
We walked along the beach the other morning, and yesterday, just across from here, the
Shahid?
Sheikh
Shahid.
Sheikh Jabr.
Oh, Shahid Park.
Yes.
that's
Yeah, I love Shahid Park.
Oh, okay.
But it's only a little bit because we didn't have any much time. I thought we have lots of time, 7 days in Kuwait, but somehow our friends organized, okay, let's go this way, let's go that way. Oh, we are running time, we have to go this. We still don't know the plan. And then suddenly, interview. We didn't plan this.
Surprise.
Surprise. Thank you for everybody. Took your time.
Well, I'm glad that you have people who can plan so many things for you, because I think it helps you to not have to worry about it yourselves as well. And you're always going to find things to do. I'm sure they have way more in store for you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm going to take this moment to thank to all the people that you just mentioned who have organized your trip to Kuwait, who have invited you here, who have welcomed you here. And honestly, I feel very grateful to be part of such a community. And I hope that you only have 4 days left in Kuwait, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope they are filled with greatness, and I hope they are filled with great food, because as a frequent traveler as well, honestly, this is not just because I'm Kuwaiti talking about Kuwait. Our cuisine, our restaurants are next level. So I do hope you try all of that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about something before we wrap all this conversation on, is that your experience in Japan, and how would you describe the cities of Japan to people who are outside, right? To people who maybe know just about Tokyo, but they don't know anything about the other country, the other cities. Like, how do you talk through all of that?
I would say, I mean, most people would land in Tokyo or Osaka, so you'd hit with the big city first. It can be easier in some ways because there's more people there who might speak English, but on the whole, I mean, as your friends who came from Kuwait to Japan found, people are really friendly and helpful. So even you go in the countryside, it's a little more relaxed, it's less crowded. Maybe the train might be 2 minutes late instead of 1 minute late. But it's a good experience. And you were asking me before about what I found when I got to Japan. I'm from a small town in Canada up in the mountains. So the crowds in the big city were quite something. But you go a little bit outside of Tokyo. We live about 3 meters from the edge of Tokyo. There's no crowds out there. So it's more relaxed. There's festivals going on. You do see more of the culture, more of the older structures, the older ways of doing things. So it is good. It is nice to step out of the city, I think.
I feel like that's amazing. Do you have anything to add, Kazumi?
No. Pat said everything what I wanted to say.
Well, I think that was brilliant. And I feel like you've opened our eyes more to our hopeful future trip to Japan when we can go. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today and sharing your experiences.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, if you come over, we look forward to welcoming you to Japan.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. And I feel like you guys did cover quite a lot of things. I do want to ask you, though, because I know that in Kuwait, food, as Abdullah said, is a very big thing. Have you got to experience the food here?
I just don't know the name, and everything selected by friends. They ordered food, and then we just ate. It's good. It's very good. It's very good. So, very good. One thing, first time we went to the supermarket, we thought we were.
Yeah, I like hummus, and sometimes Kazumi makes hummus at home, a little bit different recipe. But I thought, oh, that package looks like hummus. I'm definitely going to make a mistake on the pronunciation. It wasn't hummus. It was very hard and solid.
What is sugary?
Oh, it was rahash? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a sweet. It's completely different.
So we opened the thing.
Yeah.
And
he knew right
What's wrong with this hummus?
I know.
It's actually very yummy as well, but it is a dessert. It's used for
Yeah.
desserts and things.
Exactly. And even look at the package, it's sliced. You don't slice hummus. I should have looked a little closer, but
It's
So,
all right.
It seems like you're the foodie in this equation.
no, this one.
Oh.
This one.
No, I just love to eat.
It's okay. I think we all love to eat here, so it's great. Abdullah's actually the food here as well.
I am the foodie. I have ritual after every taping of the Untold is to go to a grill station. So obviously you're both welcome to join me if you have nothing on your schedule. It's one of the best grilling stations in Kuwait, in my opinion.
Nice. But you're the foodie then, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. And I think Montreal maybe was good for the food as well when you visited.
It was, yeah, it was delicious. Especially the what is it called? Poutine?
Poutine?
Yeah.
Poutine,
Oh, that is good.
Put
Not a fan, huh?
no, it's too heavy.
It is heavy, I would say that.
Yeah.
But it is good.
It's good.
I didn't try it in Canada though. I tried it in the UK. Like there was a pop-up for some reason
yeah.
with poutine, and my friend was Canadian. She made me go try it.
Then she would.
She was like, "You have to try this. I miss this from Canada so much." And I'm like, "It's good." I mean, I love potatoes in all forms, so I feel like you can't go wrong with a potato-based
Then you
dish.
have to go to Ireland.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
Oh, I actually visited Ireland before.
yeah.
One of my friends went to university there, so I used to visit her there. Yeah, in Dublin.
Yeah, Trinity College or one of
Oh yeah, Trinity. She studied nutrition.
Yeah.
But I love Dublin. It was beautiful. I feel like the Irish are some of the friendliest people I've ever met. And it's very social, very happy. There's always like something happening. A lot of rain. There is a lot of rain.
It takes rain to keep it green like that.
Yeah, but it is so green, and I did enjoy my experience there quite a lot as well.
And speaking of enjoying the experiences, we also enjoyed having you on the show. I'd like to send tremendous thank you, both Patrick and Kazumi, for joining us. It was delightful talking to you both.
Oh, likewise. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, it was a pleasure to have you guys. We are going to go on a short break. And that was all we had for today. Abdullah, what did you think of our interview with Patrick and Kazumi?
Honestly, I absolutely loved it. Maybe it couldn't be shown on the interview, but we spent maybe near an hour with Patrick and Kazumi after we said, cut the cameras. They are so entertaining to talk to. They are so friendly. They are so joyful, filled with life. I really had a lovely time talking to them.
So did I, and I loved hearing about how they ended up in Japan and other cultures, how they met, and their whole journey from just learning to know different languages and how difficult it is. Like Patrick is basically fluent in Japanese. I think he was being a bit modest about his grasp on the language, and it's not an easy language to learn. Kazumi definitely said he can speak it quite well. We heard it ourselves a little bit too.
Yeah, I love that, their little secret language, right? Because I'm sure the audience saw a glimpse of it whenever they were in a little bit of a problematic with the answers. They were talking to each other in Japanese, right? They were talking to each other in their own language. I just love that they have their own way of communication. That's just between them here in Kuwait. Like, of course, if they were in Japan, that's the language, right? But here, it was so lovely to see.
And I loved getting to see their own experience in Japan. Kazumi, who's lived there, and Patrick as an outsider who went to live there, and how he was able to describe it to us, and the cultural differences between there and Kuwait, but also how amazing Japan really is, especially considering it has so much to offer, like historically, nature-wise, food-wise, and the fact that the people are so efficient and punctual. It's really good to know, I think, for people who want to visit in the future.
It is an amazing culture. It's an amazing country, and they were amazing people. I really had a lovely time talking to them. With that being said, I think that's the end of today's episode of The Untold. Sayonara.
Sayonara, and see you next time.